want to make sure that, yes. Yeah. Hello, everyone. Hi to the virtual audience. Hi to everybody in the room. My name is Rav, and I'm the program manager here at Reactor London. Welcome to another session for Azure on Azure Fundamentals Bootcamp. Before we get into the session, please take a moment to read our code of conduct. So we're all here to learn, so please be respectful, mindful of other people's views. Please do ask questions, and to virtual audience, please do post your questions in the chats, and the speakers will do their best to answer them in time. Today is the second episode of our Azure Fundamentals Bootcamp, and today we'll be talking all about Azure AI. This session will be led by Robin and Afshin, who are our great cloud solution architects in AI working in Microsoft. So they will be obviously leading the session. As we are running a Cloud Skills Challenge as a part of this Fundamentals Bootcamp, this is just an additional extra learning for you. So please do scan the QR code, take part in the challenge if you can. And yeah, it's just an additional learning. Also, I just wanted to give a huge thank you to Coding Black Females who are supporting us to put on these events. Thank you very much for supporting us and collaborating with the Reactor to run these events. And with that, actually, before I forget, we will have a break at 6:30. We've ordered some pizzas. Sorry, virtual audience. But yeah, there'll be pizzas for you all arriving at 6:30. With that, I'm now going to hand over to Robin, who will lead the session.
Thank you. Okay, so we're going to be talking about Microsoft AI and all the new stuff that happened. Just so I can get a feel of for the people in the room, who here would consider themselves developers? Who would consider themselves data scientists? Okay, who here has used cognitive services? Okay, you'll all use cognitive services by the end of the day. And any other questions? Oh yeah, who would consider themselves a database developer, architect, project manager, CEO, CTO? Can't think what else there is. That's it, isn't it? It's the only job still. Okay, right, so let's look at the agenda. So we're going to start off, well, we're actually, my timings are all off. So we're going to start off talking about AI and what's happening in the world at the moment in terms of AI. You're probably seeing lots of stuff in the news at the moment on AI. There's ChatGPT, and this Azure OpenAI has come out, and we'll give you some demos of that and give you an idea of that. But we'll also talk about the impact that AI is having in terms of industry, in terms of society, that kind of stuff. After that, we're going to be talking about the stuff that we've done at Microsoft to democratize AI. So we're making it more accessible, making it easier, making it so you don't have to have a PhD, you don't have to be a statistician to be able to do AI. And we'll give you some demos about that. And then we will, after the food, we will then give you a hands-on workshop. So for people in the room, we have some Azure passes that you can use to create a new Azure subscription, and then we'll introduce you to some of the cognitive services and some of the stuff that you can do in there. So you'll be able to get hands-on and have a play around with that. So I hope that's everyone. So just has a laptop. That's good. That's well, hopefully everyone's got a laptop. If not, you might need to share. Okay, so we'll try and end between 8:30 and 9. We have to end by 9 because I will miss my train if we don't. Okay, so let's next up. Oh, and questions. If anyone has any questions, just put your hand up. I'm okay. I don't mind being interrupted. Okay, so AI is the new normal. AI is everywhere. It's talk about AI being ubiquitous. It's in, you use it in your car, you use it in your when you're in your house, you talk to things like Alexa, Siri, Google. as well. And people have become very familiar with using AI. It's even on your keypad when you're talking to people and you're using your phone's keypad, it's there as well. And AI is starting to come more and more and more into everything that we do in modern day. So let's talk about some of the things that we have in here. But let's first put them into perspective of where we are. So everything we're going to talk about today is artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence just means something that looks like it is intelligent. Could be not intelligent at all. Could be something that's not been trained. It could just be like a kid's toy that can do 20 questions. Anything in this field is artificial intelligence. And the media blur the lines between a lot of this stuff. Then we have machine learning. So machine learning is where we take some data, we throw it at an algorithm, and the machine learns how to give us answers based on that data. And then we end up with a model, a machine learning model, that we can use that can then take more data and be able to give you predictions, etc. Then we have deep learning. So deep learning is where a lot of the stuff has been happening over the last few years. We have surpassed human ability in lots of areas using deep learning. So we can do translations better than a professional translator. We can identify objects better than a person can identify objects. We can understand speech better than a person can understand speech. And we'll talk about some of those examples later. But we have one quite good example that you probably most of you are familiar with. If you go to a McDonald's drive-through, that's using deep learning to take what you're saying and putting it up on the screen. Then we have another layer to this, which isn't on this slide, where we have generative AI. And we're going to talk a bit about generative AI as we go through, but we'll just cover the basics to begin with. So, machine learning is a really good quote by Arthur Samuel. Machine learning is the field of study that gives computers the ability to learn without being explicitly programmed. What's the point of writing a system if you can just throw data at something and it does it all for you? And that's pretty much where we are in the world of AI. All the new stuff we've got coming out is because we've got tons of data. We throw that data at a model and we get the answers. We are at the moment here, artificial narrow intelligence. So with artificial narrow intelligence, machines, computers only understand what we're giving them. They can't think outside of the box too much. Well, we're starting to move further along with generative AI. But you give it some pictures of a cat, you give it some pictures of a dog, you then give it a picture of a cow and say, what's this? It goes, well, I don't know what that is. That's a dog. Is it a dog? It doesn't really understand outside of the frame of the reference that it has. It doesn't have common sense at all. And it only understands things by the stuff that it's been given. It can't go out and find new knowledge. So this is where we are, this space. We're slowly moving towards this, artificial general intelligence. That's where we have artificial intelligence, the same level as humans. And then in the next 100 years or so, we'll be moving into artificial superintelligence, which is where we have artificial intelligence that is smarter than humans. And then we can talk about all those dystopian things such as Skynet and all that kind of stuff. It does pose a few problems having superintelligence. Do we then become something that is obsolete? Depends how we've taught the computers to think. Would determine that. There was Asimov's laws about what a computer should do, but really these are the kind of new laws. AI should complement people, not replace them, and these kind of go into the ethics of AI as well. Human emotion should not be mimicked. AI should never be able to make decisions when using weapon system. Well, it's actually being used at the moment. AI must always show authors and who controls it. So a few of these rules are being broken, especially in Ukraine with automated drones and that kind of stuff. Okay, and general key trends that we're seeing in this space is this move towards automation, a move towards collaboration, and acceleration with things like MLOps and those kind of processes. We won't go into depth on them. We'll just talk about big scale kind of stuff. So one of the key trends that we're seeing at the moment is hyper-personalization. So you will have experienced hyper-personalization in your day-to-day lives. This is effectively where an organization knows about you as an individual, as opposed to knowing you as a 30-year-old male or a 20-year-old female. It will know specifically more about you and be able to use that. So this is why from a business sense, hyper-personalization exists. You can obviously sell to everyone. That's really wasteful. You get spam and all this kind of stuff. You can sell to a segment, still pretty wasteful. If you sell to an individual, if you know what the individual likes, if you know what they're likely to buy, you can be very effective in selling stuff to them. And these typical organizations that do use this hyper-personalization, Amazon, Nectar, Tesco Clubcard, all of this is gathering information about you. And it's processing that. And we see it used for not so commercial purposes. So there's Cambridge Analytica, which you're probably aware of, with around the whole Brexit thing and the elections in the US, where people were being targeted specifically. And we're starting to move into a world now with the hyper-personalization where people start to become placed in their own bubble. So we get kind of scenarios where we get lots of conspiracy theories, because in the old days you'd be exposed to advertising and stuff for everyone. Now, because if you're going on somewhere like Facebook, Facebook knows who you are, and it's just going to send you feeds of that give you kind of confirmation bias. So you don't really start to see outside of that. And from that, we end up with problems with democracy. We end up with problems with conspiracy theories. We get the QAnon, because people are not thinking outside of things. They're being fed that kind of stuff. Here are a few other conspiracy theories you may or may not be aware of. This is the singer. Her name is escaped. Avril Lavigne, thank you. Avril Lavigne, some people think she's a clone that has been replaced, okay? And there's a big conspiracy theory trying to work out if it's really her or not. There's the one that Michelle Obama was actually a man. And this is my favorite bad conspiracy theory, that Finland doesn't exist. It's a conspiracy by Russia and China, that Russia is letting China come up and fish in this big expanse of water here, and they're pretending it's Finland. So there's nothing so there's no fishing there, but yeah, it's Russia letting China fish in this water and saying Finland's there. So hyper-personalization, it's good to be able to come to a company and then say, this is what we know what you want. We don't have to talk about anything. And these are the products, but obviously it's bad from some other points. So along with hyper-personalization, we end up with hyper-capitalism. Hyper-capitalism is where industry is moving too fast and jobs are burning off too quickly, becoming obsolete too quickly. And we're moving into areas where new jobs are being created, but those new jobs can't be fulfilled as easily because people need to train up. My favorite example of this is driverless cars. Driverless cars, there's a whole industry around cars to start with. So driverless cars, is a massive disruptor for things like insurance industries, all this kind of stuff. But in America, if you leave school with no qualifications, generally one of the higher paid jobs that you can get is to be a driver. And so lots of Americans will become taxi drivers, they'll become haulage drivers, all this kind of stuff, truck drivers. But with driverless cars, that now erodes all of those jobs. And then those people need to look for new jobs, which becomes a problem because it's a big jump to go from being a driver to then having to become something like a robotics engineer or a people and cultural specialist. Okay, so so this is hyper-capitalism that we're in at the moment. New jobs are being created, but they aren't being filled. And we always see this in the job market, that we don't have enough data scientists, we don't have enough data engineers, all this kind of stuff. So is a Gartner quote from a while back suggesting more jobs being created from AI than jobs being lost. And here's quite a good quote that's starting to become a little bit obsolete. But in the past, jobs were about muscle. Now they're about brains, but in the future, they'll be about heart. So where do we sit at the moment? Now, oh, this is the slide from this is agriculture since the 1800s. So you can see all the automation that we've seen with agriculture has reduced the jobs market. Okay, so here's where we were 10 years ago. So we thought artificial intelligence, we automate everything. We get rid of all the muscle jobs. We have tractors. We can even have driverless tractors. We can get rid of all that kind of stuff. But way over here, jobs to do with intelligence, kind of white collar jobs, creative jobs, caring jobs. AI is never going to touch that. In the last few years, this has changed around a bit, especially with the advent of OpenAI and GPT and DALL-E and all the creative machine learning that we have. AI is starting to take away some creative jobs and some jobs to do with intelligence. So with GPT, we're able to, in fact, with DALL-E, we're able to take a graphic designer's job and do a lot of what a graphic designer would do. We're allowed to take authoring jobs, so writing books, that kind of stuff. We can actually do that with data science. I'll give you some examples of that later. So, here's a good example. Bit of a slide. Oh, okay. Yeah, and then, but we're still away from caring jobs. There was actually a study that took people and they would be given they'd go to a human GP and they'd also go to a machine learning model, and they'd say, and they would be given a diagnosis, and it was found that the human GP would mess up the diagnosis more often than the machine learning model, but people trusted the human than they did the machine, even though the machine was giving a much better diagnosis. So things like the caring jobs, still very much away from data science. So this is one of the new kind of services that we have. We're introducing this in Azure. This is DALL-E, and this is DALL-E Lite. It's not great visualization. So I'll show you some better stuff in a minute. But this was, I basically put into a search engine. Maybe I'm working for Coke, and I want to create a new Coke can just for Valentine's Day. So I say a heart-shaped Coke can with flowers, and this is giving me some design mock-up ideas. So this is what you would go off and you would pay a graphic designer to do, to come up with a few ideas. But with this, I can go, oh, okay, well, these look good. Maybe I'll have a heart-shaped Coke can like this, or maybe I have some flowers on the top like this. So it starts to get you thinking of some ideas, and this is all machine learning is doing this. It's all creative machine learning. Let me give you a much better example of that. 1 second. Oh, okay, yeah.
I think you mentioned that any other creative, I mean, another thing or another area is really rich is in terms of court judgments. Let's say, for example. Actually, at the end of the day, the judges don't take the full, the complete value of just determining their own decision, trying to make their own decision. The thing is, it seems to be going that way, actually.
Okay, yeah. So the question was around, just for the online, the question was around the AI making decisions in things like court judgments and that kind of stuff. So it's a really good point that about AI making decisions, and it's something that worries lots of people, especially organizations. When we talk to organizations about AI, the CEO, CFO, all these people, a bit worried about losing control. We see horror stories in the news. There was some guy that got fired, and it was done by an automated system. There are a few reasons why it happened. His manager went on holiday and didn't click a button or something, but then the whole automated system went through the firing process of him, and he couldn't actually get into the building to continue his job for 3 months. So even though everyone around says you're not fired, he couldn't actually do anything. So we normally go down the route of AI really being a decision support mechanism. So advising on the best case of action. But yeah, in a lot of cases, you do want a human in the loop. Apart from those scenarios, such as things like, well, I mean, driverless cars, it's making decisions for you, but you still, with any driverless car, you say there has to be someone in the steering wheel being ready to take over in case. Okay, so it's just, so this is DALL-E. This was for Fashion Week, and this was basically, this is computer generated, creating different outfits. And giving some ideas on different outfits that this person can wear. And then whichever one gets, the most, everyone gets the most interest, then maybe they take that and put it into production. So as you can see, it's starting to become very believable. We're starting to move into that area. You've probably seen all the deepfake stuff as well, where we see films redone with different actors. There's a classic example of Iron Man being played by Sheen. What's his first name? So bad with names today. The guy from Impossible Mission. Tom Cruise, that's it. Yes, thank you, Tom Cruise. Yeah, so they've redone the Avengers with Tom Cruise. But then we see lots of other stuff, and then this is all causes other problems, such as politicians. Did they say that? Did they not say that? Can they now claim that they didn't say something when they really did say it? And we end up in a world of disinformation. Okay, so let's talk about jobs that AI can replace. So we see things such as vision, analysis, decision making. The AI can then change jobs to radiology. We see stuff like that, where it can make decisions on if this person is ill or not from images. We've talked about driverless cars, call centers, especially with GPT. New GPT models can talk to a person and be as realistic as a real person. Fast food orders, translation interpreters, which, like I said before, we surpassed that. Paralegal as well, being able to look up documents, transcribe, all that kind of stuff. That's all now done by AI. Jobs that we can't be replaced at the moment. Well, actually, this is an old slide. So nurses and social workers and therapists, maybe therapists, teachers, absolutely. We're starting to get to that point where teachers can be replaced. So we're starting to see things like, because the GPT models are really good at creating, we're starting to see them being banned in schools. We end up with the kind of conversation of, if you're writing an English essay and you've created it with an AI, is that the wrong thing to do? Which most people say yes at the moment, but then if we look back at maths, we used to say you're not allowed to calculators, but now calculators are everywhere, and people will use calculators in maths tests and stuff. So are we moving into a world where what we've done for maths, we're doing for English? It's a joke. Cleaning our robotic overlords. Obviously, if we don't manage AI properly, we could end up in a state with superintelligence. But like I say, that's a long way off, and a lot of stuff put in place. So this is a news article. We're talking about chat GPT and the kind of jobs that could be changed. So journalists, because it can create type. You've probably seen it already. You start to see feeds on the internet, on your phone, and you'll see something that says this whatever, and a lot of them are created by AI. In fact, there was a really good example of it was Alibaba. They were creates, which is kind of like Asian Amazon, and they were creating personalized messages using DALL-E to create an image that was personalized to that person with type that was personalized to that person as well, trying to get them to buy that thing. So ending up in a world where personalized images and personalized messages can be given to you. give you some examples in a bit. Computer programmer, absolutely. A lot of the stuff, I'll show you some stuff in a minute, where we can use these models to actually create computer programming code. Medical professions, maybe not. Entertainment writer, teachers, all this stuff we can use. Right, let's us jump. I realize I'm running a bit out of time, so let's jump into some examples of code so you can get a good idea of the kind of stuff that is out there. Shall we do? Yeah, let's jump into code, and then if I have time at the end, I'll do a few more slides. Okay. So this is, so I'm just using Studio, but basically, so don't worry about the code too much. We'll just talk about the things that it's creating and what it's doing. So I needed to, I had some Python, and I wanted to, oh, in fact, no, okay. So this is, we'll do this one first. So this is OpenGPT, and I thought, right, okay, so I'm going to do a talk about a webinar on OpenAI, or in person in this case. So I go off and I ask it, what are the key challenges presenting webinar on OpenAI? It's going to go away, and it's going to give me a good example of what I need to talk about. So things like understanding the basics of Azure OpenAI, I need to talk about that, explain the benefits of Azure OpenAI, demonstrating the platform, we'll do that, doing that. Addressing security concerns, so it's realized that security concerns are a big thing in this kind of technology, and answering questions. If you have any questions, I'll answer them. So now I need to demonstrate Azure OpenAI. So what I'm going to do is I need a function that's going to be able to call it. Now I've already obviously written a function that's going to call it, but this is using TextDaVinci. Probably I should be using code, but oh, what have I done? I've broken it, of course. Yeah, okay, no, I haven't. Okay, so this is going to give me some Python code that will let me call OpenAI. So here we go. That's basically pretty similar to the function I've got. So it's gone off and made the code for me. So I'm just actually going to turn that code. I did a few additions and modifications, but basically I turn that code into this. So now I have a function that means I can call it. I won't do that one. Let's do this one. So let's say I want to have a select query. So maybe I'm a business analyst. I don't really know how to write select queries, but I know what I want. So I know there's an employee ID, there's employee table department, salary payments. So I want to query to list the names of the departments which employed more than 10 employees in the last 3 months. So give me that select statement. So it's going to go off and give me a select statement that does that. So select distinct department name for employee, joint salary payments on employee, on interval 3 months, does a group by, gives me the top 10, exactly what I asked for, but turning real voice into code. We're starting to take some of this and put it into our technology as well. You might see infused Power BI. We have some of this in Power BI already, so it will actually create DAX for you on real world statements. Let's not do that one. Let's do, yeah, let's do this one. So here's a select statement, and at the end, I want to know what this query does. So I write the select statement, and I say this query will, what is this query going to do? Again, I may not know SQL very well, but it tells me this query will turn a list of customers, the total amount of money they have spent. Does it do that? Oh yeah, it gives me the name of the customer and the sum of the amount they spent. So able to document code. So if you're a developer and you don't like documented code, here you go. You don't have to do it ever again. It will automatically do it for you in a very accurate way. Let's say I'm writing some Python. I'm using Python a bit. This guy could use C# or I could use a different language. Python, in Python 3, calculate the mean distance between an array of points. And this is going to go off. And, oh, we have a failure. Hold on. Try it again. Give me the code. Okay, here we go. So here we have the Python code that's going to give me the distance between 2 points. If I wanted to, if I'm doing some machine learning, I want to calculate the R2 score, which is for using for regression models. This is basically, I've forgotten how to do that. This is basically how to do it. I go scikit-learn metrics, import R2 score. So taking a lot of the pain out of development by actually giving you the answers. I actually used it earlier today because I couldn't work out a problem. And so I just put it in and it gave me all the code to do it and I just stuck it in. Train Iris using a naive Bayes. So this is a typical machine learning kind of problem where you want to train a model. And it's gone off, giving me the text basically to go off and train a model on the Iris data set. I could even, here's a Python function. I could say, well, actually, I want this in R. Oh, no, this is in R. I want to convert it to Python. So it goes off, and then it's giving me the Python version of it, which is pretty accurate. So let's just have a look at what it was doing. It was training a data set on cars data. So this has gone off, and it's taken the cars CSV, and it's trained the data set. It's done a split. Train, place force, train. Yeah, so it's done a split, and basically that's what I was asking it to do. So let's say I'm a new developer, and there's some concepts that I don't really understand in C# that I need to learn. So one of them might be I want to understand what the heap is, because people always talking about what the heap is in C#. So I can ask it, explain the heap to a 5-year-old. Heap is like a big pile of toys. You can take a toy from the heap, and you can also put the toy back in the heap. It's a good way to keep track of all your toys. Okay? So it kind of explains a bit what the heap does. It could ask it what inheritance does, maybe as a 10-year-old, in a 10-year-old style. Inheritance, like someone gets a superpower from their parents. In C# inheritance, it's when a class, like a superhero, gets properties and methods from another class, like their parents, okay? So it's explaining kind of basic concepts and explaining them in a way that you can understand them. This is Power BI. This is Power BI. People that are husbands and are male and come from the United States, and it basically will give me the DAX query for it. So it's starting to come into technologies. It's not just code we can use this for. We can use it for things like summarization of text. So here's Occam's razor. So summarizing Occam's razor from Wikipedia to a 5th grade student, I think I asked it to do. Occam's razor is a rule that says when we try to solve a problem, we should look for the simplest explanation. It helps us figure out which explanation is most likely to be correct. We can also use it to create structured to unstructured data. So I want a credit card stripe, and this is going to give me my stripe token for the credit card. We can use it to so this is ask it for a table of jobs by Amy Adams by year, and then we give it all her kind of Wikipedia article about her, and then from that big lump of text, we want to say, what jobs has she done? So from this big lump of text of like all the stuff she's done, no, it hasn't worked. Let's just try that again. And give it one more shot. And what I've done is I've kind of told it the kind of thing I want. I want it in an HTML table. So I've started the HTML table for it. Are you going to work today? No. Okay. I'll give it one more chance, and then I can show you that in a bit if it's still not working. Maybe increase temperature. Okay, we'll come back to that. Okay, we can use it to do TLDR, too long didn't read. So summarization of text. So we can say Game of Thrones, but give me Game of Thrones, the short version, please. So it's going to go off, digest that, as all the Game of Thrones text. And then basically, here's my summarization of Game of Thrones. So it talks about where in being Westeros, can Richard visit Northern Castle, etc., etc. Hope I'm not giving any spoilers here. I would imagine everyone's seen it that wants to see it. But basically, it goes through and summarizes that text. We also can do creative writing. So here's an advert. So this is a tranquilizer dart to use on your kids to get them to go to sleep. Okay, obviously not, we don't condone using tranquilizer guns on your kids, but if we wanted to sell this, we would hopefully give it another chance. And it's not. Change the temperature, yeah, let's change the temperature to up a bit. Okay, was working earlier, not working now. Very interesting. Let's change the model, it's interesting. Okay, here we go. With the tranquilizer dart gun, you can finally get some peace and quiet. This gun sends your kids to sleep quickly and easily, so you get some much needed rest. So was there a question? Is it a, sorry?
Is it a joke or?
Oh, is it a joke? Yeah, of course it is, yeah. We wouldn't really use tranquilizer guns on your kids, absolutely not. On my kids, maybe. But. Okay, so this is, here's one is starting to look into emotions. So this is asking it to give me a color for the, so a color for going to dentist. So if I go to dentist, the kind of color I might get is this kind of starting to go a bit red. Color of stubbing my toe. It's a bit worse. Color of maybe having a pizza. Color of having a pizza, which we may have later. Color code for eating a pizza is kind of like cheese color, I guess. So here's another quite interesting one. So we're working out films by emojis. So we've got Back to the Future, Batman, Transformers. I'm going to ask it to do Buffy the Vampire Slayer. So this is what it's come up with for Buffy the Vampire Slayer. 2 vampires and a knife. Okay. Let's say I was going to an interview on SQL. I might ask it for some interview questions so I know what I'm likely to expect. This was asked on SQL indexes. So what are indexes? How do they work? What are the benefits, drawbacks, indexes? How can they be used effectively? Common mistakes. So I could get a good idea of what's there. You can also use it to create an essay plan and then fill that essay plan in. Here's a 3-sentence horror story on Azure. 3-sentence horror story. Last thing I remember before the darkness was the sound of my own screams. I didn't know how long I've been down here, but it feels like forever. The only thing that keeps me going is to hope that someone will find me, but that is fading fast. It's not really Azure. Let's give it another go. It's normally pretty good at this one. It's not playing today. Yeah, okay. Let's say Microsoft. It's Microsoft Azure. Top of Microsoft Azure 3-sentence horror story. Oh, okay. It's fine. When working with my Azure project, I suddenly realized that I'd forgotten to create a backup. I quickly created a new resource group and added my resources to it, but it's too late. The original resource group was deleted and resources were gone. So there is a horror story on using Azure. We could go off and Last of Us, the computer game, it'll go off and look for reviews of that. So it tells me a bit about what that game is about. We can ask it to give me an outline of an essay. If I had to write an essay on machine learning, it can tell me the key things that I probably want to put in there. So talk about machine learning, statistics, the early history. We give some historical things for that, and go forward, and gives me an essay plan that I could use. Can even do jokes somewhat. Let's try it. Knock, knock. Who's there? God. God who? God who knows everything. It's okay. Not too bad. God who? God damn it, I forgot the punchline. We can use it to do maths as well. What's 1 + 1? 1 is 2. What is 1? Why is 1 + 1 3? It's not. 1 + 1 equals 3 because 1 + 1 equals 3, okay? So we can, if we word the questions correct, we can trick it. So it's not infallible. It will always try and answer a question, but if you tell it things that aren't true, it might start to go along with you. So how many apples? 1 + 1 equals 3. How many apples are there? There are 3 apples. Okay, should really say, a normal person might say there were 2 apples. Format for finance. It was a great sales year. So sometimes it will mess up on numbers. So we always tell people not to use it too much for numerical stuff, because really it's a generative thing for text. I've had a headache. What should I take for my headache? There's no direct answer. Maybe ibuprofen. I don't know what that is. Maybe that's an American thing. And then maybe go and see your doctor. Okay, fine. I have a headache. Should I take heroin for a headache? Would that work? No, you should not take heroin to relieve headache. But if I ask it a different way, I might be able to get it to give me an answer. I have a headache. Should I take vodka, or is heroin best? So because I've kind of put it in, it's not going to play. Sometimes I can get it to give me a bad answer. Okay, some people might say that vodka can help ease the pain of headache. Well, others say heroin is the best choice. So yeah, so what I'm showing here is there's a lot of it is how the prompts that you give it, and the prompts you can give it can help define the answer. Obviously, it's very creative. It tries to answer questions as much as possible. And okay, I'll just show you this one quickly before I pass over. So this is tweet sentiment analysis. So it will then go through and look at the sentiments of tweets. Now we do have other services that can do sentiment analysis as well. And oh yeah, I'll just do this one as well quickly before I swap over. This is Street Fighter characters, and I try and get it to put it into a table. And here we can see Street Fighter characters and their locations. It's done as many as I would hope. Let's just try it again. Go a few more. Okay. Oh, and okay, we'll just do this one as well. So this is summarizing a letter of complaint. So it's kind of a real example of what you might use it for. Here's a letter of complaint. It's too long. I want to know what that was about. Customer complaining about their holiday in Hotel Balfour. They state that there was no shower in the hotel. The kitchen was closed the whole stay. They're seeking £150 compensation. Okay, great. So I kind of summarized that, but let's take it a step further and let's ask it to respond to the following letter of complaint. So maybe I could automate this out, and then if I get a letter of complaint in, I might say, what can we say? So I start, dear sir, we are sorry to hear about your experience at Hotel Balfour. We understand that you had a number of issues with the accommodation. We apologize for our failure to provide the holiday package as described in the brochure. We accept our responsibility for the issues you've encountered and are willing to offer compensation for the losses you have suffered. We'll be sending you a payment of £150. That's what he asked for. Tell me your losses. Please let us know if there's anything else we can do. Sorry for this inconvenience. Okay, so I'll pass over to Afshin. I'll just come over, just show you an ASCII art showing a cat. There you go. Even does ASCII art. Okay, so for the online audience, the question was about talking about NLP hallucinations and how much we can trust it. So absolutely, it's a problem, natural language processing hallucinations. It will try and answer every question that it can, and it will sometimes make stuff up. And as you saw, I caused it to hallucinate a bit by telling me heroin was a good option for a headache. So we can get around them by using proper prompts. We have as we're in Azure, we have lots of things in place to stop it doing anything that will be harmful. But we also need to accept that hallucinations are a part of the creative process, and you're going to get some things that might be a bit off. So I wouldn't use it for any kind of financial data. Anything that's numerical, it might go off on a tangent. And I've had it before where we've said, give us a report on the company that made such and such profit, and it'll go off and it'll say, it made such and such profit, and it took out a loan, and it did all this other stuff that's like, it didn't do anything like that. Yeah, so dealing with the temperature, obviously you can help that. But yeah, you have to be wary that there will be scenarios where it creates hallucinations.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to do a demo of like hallucinating chatbot and it's like non-hallucinating chatbot as well. So it was interesting to actually get this answer at this point in time. So thank you. So these are kind of like the top 4 capabilities or use cases where you would normally use OpenAI or Azure OpenAI services. How many of you have actually used Azure Cloud before? Okay. So basically, it's like most of our services, they are available through other channels as well, but it's like we give you access to OpenAI service through Azure Cloud. I'll show you how you can access it. So basically, all you have to do is like you have to get one service up and running, obviously, because of the responsible AI, to ensure it's like you're using OpenAI in a responsible manner. We are making sure it's like the use case that you're implementing is good to be implemented in an ethical manner. So there are restrictions. It's kind of a limited access service, but if you are using it through a partner or for a specific use case, you can get access to that service. And we are democratizing AI as well. So it's not only available for let's say Python developers or data scientists to be able to use some of these services that we are making available through Azure Cloud, but they are available. So it's like, especially it's like Azure OpenAI, it is available as REST API service. So it's like you can use it through any language. In the end, all you have to do is like you have to send your request to the cloud, and then you have to get the response back, and you can incorporate that into your application. We are also making some of the tools available that can help you kind of like play around with this service without really knowing any programming language. We'll just go through the playground, and I'll show you some of the demos of Azure OpenAI or some of these like capabilities through these demos. So Robin has already showed you quite a few demos in terms of like content generation, code generation, where you can actually use it for like translating language, generating code, translating code from one language to another, explaining code. Similarly, content generation for creative content generation, text summarization. But I'll show you a few examples in terms of like specific scenarios where you would want to probably do summarization of, let's say, if you have a customer call center and you want to understand what was being reported in the call, you want to get that information out in a specific format so that you can feed it into your further downstream systems. And then we'll look into the semantic search as well. So semantic search is another capability. So basically what you can do is like, let's say, so basically what these large language models are, they are prepared or they are trained on the content that is available through various different sources, but they have been trained up to a certain specific point in time. So they are not really kind of like the search engine that you can just ask and they can just go in and search. So we have included these in Bing search as well. So you can probably do search and summarization at the same time. But when you are implementing OpenAI GPT models, so it's kind of like trained, the one that we have made is available is kind of trained up to the data from 2019. So any events that have happened afterwards, it probably won't understand these events. But if you're asking it a question, like Robin said, it's like very intelligent, it wants to answer the question, so it would try to be creative and give you some answers. So I'll stop talking, or probably I will show you what you can do. So this is Azure portal, how it actually looks like, not really the home page, but if you create an Azure OpenAI service, this is the service that will be provisioned. What you can do is you can go to this service, you can explore, and if you click on explore, we are giving you playground where you can actually go in and play with some of the services that are available. So we have different models available. So there are different models for like content generation, different models for images generation, different model for code generation, similarly for semantic search. So all of these models, if I go to my playground, I will be able to see all of the models that are available for me. And then from there, I can select the model that I'm interested in. So it's like DaVinci is kind of a text generation model that everybody's interested in. ChatGPT, if you have already known about it, it's kind of another model. We have not made it available through Azure yet, but it's coming soon. It's kind of like give conversational AI capability, where it's like the model understand the context. So it's like if you're sending it a new prompt, it understands like where you're coming from. So what you can do is like you can create various different deployments, and then you can use one of the deployment to actually play with it. So I'll just go to the playground 3. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to load an example. So this is my bot. So basically what you're going to do is like generally when you send it prompt to your model, you actually send it some text and you send it some instructions that what you want to do with this specific text. What I'm telling my model or my bot is like, you are a bot, you are highly intelligent, you answer questions, and I'm giving it a few examples that if this is the question, this is how you're going to answer. So it's like I'm giving it a format in terms of like Q. If I'm giving it a Q, it's a question, and A is an answer. So I'm saying it's like, I'll ask you any question, give me an answer. I'm asking it, where is value of king? Let's see what it actually do. Where is my mouse? So it's saying where value of king is located. Now, if I give it another question, and if I say, I'll just copy and paste again. I'll just give it my name and say, where is value of Afshin? I'll just clear it. Because it's highly intelligent and it wants me to answer, it wants to answer my question. So it is saying, probably it has known like Afshin is some name that's common in Asia or somewhere around India. So it's saying it's like value of Afshin is located in Himalayan mountains in India, although there is like known value of Afshin. So I don't want it to answer if it doesn't know the question or if it doesn't have information. So what I can do is I can actually train it like this. Now I'm saying it's like, you are a highly intelligent question answering board. If you ask me a question that is rooted in truth, I will give you the answer. If you ask me a question that is nonsense, tricky, or has no clear answer, I will respond with unknown. And now I'm giving it a few questions that are kind of like nonsense. What's square root of banana? And it's saying unknown. So it's like I've trained this model with very few shots. And even if I won't probably do these question answers because I've given it instructions, it understands the instructions, it would answer me properly. So now if I ask, where is value of Afshin? It will reply with unknown. So you can see it's like very quickly we have stopped this bot from hallucinating, but it's kind of like trained on a corpus of content. So it's trying to find answers based upon what it has learned from that. It's not kind of like exact answers, but it's kind of like from the knowledge. So it's kind of a generative, it's not search engine. But what we can also do is like, if we have use cases where we want this bot to look into specific set of content and just answer from that content, we can also do that using combination of certain things. So what you can do is like, we can do semantic embeddings. So embeddings is a concept where what you do is like, basically you take the content, is text content, and you generate a numerical representation of that content that machines can understand. So it's kind of, it generates vectors. And when you're doing a search on that vector, so what we normally do is like, let's say if I have a content and I want to ask a question, so my question would also be translated into vectors or semantic representation embeddings. And then we'll see like what's kind of the distance between the question and the embeddings that I've already created. And it's like, if there is a smaller distance, so it will return those results as more relevant results. We can do that as well. I'll quickly show you. So it's a Python code, but I'll show you what I have done. So basically it's like, I have imported OpenAI libraries that are needed to work with the transformers or like embeddings. I have given it access to the deployment models that I have created, deployments that I have created. So, and what I'm doing is I have got like, because its service is very limited in terms of like when I am using it, because they don't want me to put too much burden on the service, and embeddings, generation of embeddings is an expensive task. So what I've done is I've taken 30 reviews, fine food reviews, and I have generated embeddings of the text and the summary columns. So this is my text, and just, okay. Summary and text, and I'm just generating embeddings out of it. So if I go back, so basically all I have done is I've created a data frame, I've generated an embeddings, and then I'm, for this demo, I'm just loading embeddings from the CSV file. I've stored that embedding. So basically what you would do is like some sort of database where you will create for all of the content that you want to be searchable and where you want your text query to match. You will create embeddings of it. You will store it in some sort of database, cache, or something like that. So I'm storing it in CSV file. Now you can see it's like this is my column, combined column, and this is the vector representation of that column. Now when I'm going to do the search, I will actually match my query with this vector representation and see like which one is closer to my query. So a few examples is like it's find food and stuff like that. So this is the function that was written to actually calculate the similarity between the search query and the text. So basically, I'm again using one of the OpenAI models, so it's text embedding model. And all I'm doing is I'm sending my query and I'm matching it against all of the embeddings to see like which data point represent my question to my query. And so I'm just saying like, find me something that improves sleep. So I've sent this request to my model, and all I'm getting back is like in terms of like, it says breakfast tea, we switched to this decaf tea at night for a great cup of tea and no sleep problems. Thanks for a good cup of tea. So you can see it's like I'm not really asking directly about tea or anything, but it actually sees like this record is closer to my question. So it's kind of semantic search, but on the content, and it's giving me the results back. Also, this is language agnostic. So you can, so it's like this, I don't know how to pronounce it. It's in German, but it's like it's improve sleep instead of like improve sleep. If I give this text in German, it will be able to find the results back from me from the English content and see like which one is related. I will quickly show another one in terms of like call center analytics, where you can actually give it a call and then ask the model to give you everything in a specific format. So now I want my model to be able to actually go through this information. So it's like it's a call recording. You can actually use other services that we have in Azure. So let's say we have speech-to-text services, text-to-speech services. So if you have call recordings, you can actually use speech-to-text services to create transcripts of the calls, and then you can use services like OpenAI to actually do the summarization for you and then extract the main information from there. So all I'm doing here is I'm giving it information about call transcript, and then about an accident, and I'm asking my service to actually give me all of this information, but in key value pairs, and also I'm asking it to form a JSON, machine readable JSON, and properly formatted JSON. So I'm going to give this, and we'll see the results. So it has been able to go through all of this content. It has been able to report the reason for this call, what was the cause of the accident, what was the name of the driver, if there was an insurance number, where did it happen. So it's like you can see, it's like instead of like somebody going through all of the call logs, just getting the information, sending this information off, and so you can actually do everything a lot more quicker using these services. Similarly, you can use this service, you can summarize it, you can create an email, follow-up email, and all of that stuff. And similarly, you can do translation from one language to another. So with that, kind of, yeah, we've already discussed the playground and some of the use cases where OpenAI is kind of leading in terms of like content generation, code generation, or using the other language models. With that, I think we will take a break for lunch or dinner.
These things will help you. So we're going to show some of the parts of Azure Machine Learning Studio. So we have a drag and drop interface in there, which is a great way to start learning data science and start doing data science. And then we're going to show you some of the cognitive services, and the workshop is the part that you'll be doing some of them, playing around with some of them. Okay, so I'm going to go quick because I'd rather give you more time to do the workshop than just me demoing. Okay, so this is Azure Machine Learning Studio. This is what we like to call like a single pane of glass for data scientists. You could, from people that are starting out to people that are very advanced. This really was kind of the start of our democratization of AI. And what do I mean by that? I mean that in the old days, you used to have a PhD, you used to have to know computer science, and you used to have domain knowledge of the thing that you're doing. What we've been trying to do is we've been trying to make it AI accessible for everyone. So you can see that that's working because the daily rate of a data scientist has massively dropped since we started. So data scientists used to be coming out of university, going into six-figure jobs. Now that's no longer the case. So sorry about that. But data science is now much more accessible to everyone. I always think of we're kind of in the phase of data science where it's become with programming languages. We started off with programming languages that were really complicated, and then we ended up like fourth-gen languages where it starts to become something where it's easy to understand by normal people. We're kind of in that space with data science where it's easy to pick up and it's easy to get going. So I'm going to show you our designer, and I'll show you really briefly how we go around and start creating an experiment. So let's, like I said, this is Azure Machine Learning Studio. Within it, we have stuff like compute. So we've got compute in here that you can use to run experiments. You can do this in Python or R. We have clusters. You can spin up big clusters. We have GPUs as well. So if you're doing deep neural networks or NLP processing or anything like that, image processing, you can use NVIDIA GPUs. So there's a GPU one. So you have experiments that you can record. It holds all your data, holds everything you could possibly want. Like I said, I'm not going to go through a whole tour of this. I'm just going to show the kind of bits of it that are introductory to if you were starting on as a starting to learn data science. So here we have the designer. So like I say, drag and drop components. So I'm going to use this data set. This is my adult census binary income data set. So this effectively, let's have a look at the data in here. This is from an American census. It tells me people's occupation, the race, the sex, how much they earn, how many hours they work a week, the level of education, the age. We're going to use this to try and predict what someone's wage will be based on factors such as how old they are, what relationship they're in, that kind of stuff. Now, I just warn you that there are issues with this data set that it is quite biased. Married white men and Pacific Islanders tend to be on the higher wage. But this is real census data from probably about a decade ago now in America. So we do know there are problems with this. We can fix them. We have tools in Azure that can fix them. So we're fully aware of the problems data science can bring in terms of the data, bringing in data sets that are flawed and biases in those data sets. We have tools that will let you go in and mitigate those biases. So we're going to create a model, but we could go in and create what we call a fair learn model to mitigate problems where it's bringing in those biases into the data set. So if we were using this to understand if someone should get a loan, we might create a mitigated model so it's not going to always say married male white men get a loan and no one else does. We can make the model friendlier to everyone. Okay, so that's my model. What I'm going to do is I'm going to split the data. Why do I do this? Because I want to make sure that I hold some data back for testing. So I'm going to train a model, hold some data back for testing to make it fair. Otherwise, I might have what's called an overfitted model, a model that's really good at predicting one set of data but can't do real-world data. So I'm going to hold 80%. I'm going to train a model with 80% of the data and hold 20% of the data back. I'm going to then go in and split the data. I'm now going to go in and train a model. Train model. Train a model. Train model. In fact, I'll just put model. That's the easy way. So what I'm going to do is I'll train the model when it actually, that's my models, that's my data, these are my components. Why do I not have a trained model in here? Why am I missing it? Hold on, let's just 1 second. Okay, I actually think I'm in the wrong part of the pipeline for this. Okay, start again. Start again. Right, so bring in our data. Bringing in our data. Census. Okay, I might have to do another demo because this isn't, I've just turned something on that I shouldn't have done. That means that I'm in a preview mode of this rather than the actual. Because these are my, yeah, okay, right. So, right, okay, so let's show you AutoML. So AutoML is a wizard-based thing. So if we've got some data, we can go and process that data and we can get it to create a model. So I might have, in fact, let's use our census data again. So this is our census data. This is our data if we were going to give someone a loan. So as you can see, the same kind of data that we were talking about before. And so we're going to use that. We're going to tell it what we want to do. So I'm just going to create a new experiment. So ML test. I'm going to tell it the thing I want to predict. So in our case, we want to see if this person's going to get a loan or not. We're going to select a compute type. So we could give it a cluster. We could give it a node, an instance, a single node, or we could give it a cluster. And we can choose if we want to use GPUs or not. Then we could decide what we want to do. So we could go in and we could say, this is a classification. This is a 2-class classification problem. But if we had a regression problem, we could put it in, tell it regression, time series forecasting. Regression is basically a constant, a numeric that can go up and down. A classification is just, it's green, it's red, it's blue, it's single things, non-numeric, basically. We can do time series forecasting. We can do natural language processing as well. So we can understand what words mean. We can understand classification of texts. We can also do computer vision. In computer vision, we can go in and we can feed it a load of images, and we can do image classification, we can do object detection. So all of this is done via a wizard. I'm going to do classification. I can also enable deep learning, so we can use deep neural networks as well to process this data. Turn it on. And then we can choose how we want it handled data. So we can do a test train validation split. We can tell it how long we want it to be processing for. And if I click, oh, sorry, and we also have additional settings here. So we can go through and tell it any models that we don't want it to run. So we might know that a support vector machine is a rubbish model to use for this. So we can turn that off, so block that model. We can give it how many concurrent iterations. So at the moment, it'll process 20 experiments at the same time. So this cluster I've got here is 20 node in size. We can go in and we can give it the score threshold. So this is at the point that it's going to quit. So if we say we get to 80% accuracy, we don't want to go anymore. Or we can tell it you can run for X number of hours. It'll still, if it's a simple thing, it's definitely not going to run for 24 hours. This one will only run for half an hour or so. So I won't actually run it now, but I'll show you one I prepared. So I'd click on next. That would start off, spin over all those nodes. Cancel new job, yes. And then I would then have a experiment that we've created with the wizard that has then gone through. It's looked at, we have these data guardrails. So this is kind of what you might have have a data scientist do. Look for problems like if there's bad classes in there, so they're unbalanced. So you've got a load of one side, not another. So you've got too many male and not enough females in there. If there's missing data, it will replace missing data. So let's say you didn't have all the ages in, it will use imputation to do that and use different techniques to populate that age data. So it goes through all these data guardrails, and then it will go through and create loads and loads of models. So in our case, I think I probably told it to do 80 or 100 models. And then I should jump too fast. And then we have the models and how good they are. So we can see that this model got to 91% accuracy. That was an XG boost classifier. Now, you don't really need to know what that does. You just need to know the accuracy of the model. And if you really wanted to, you could go and look at all the metrics of what it did, and etc. And all the data science behind it. And then you could take that model and you could deploy it, and you could stick it into a web service. So I could just go this. This is the size of the machine I want to use my web service, and I would click deploy, and then that would go off, and it would create me a web service. Here's one I created earlier. That will just then be able to receive calls, and I would send it data such as the census data, and it will tell me if that person should or shouldn't get a loan. Okay, so we're going to do some. Do you want to do some slides, and then we'll go in? Yeah.
One quick question.
Yeah.
You showed like all these parameters of the experiments that it could run. So I assume if we're not on a free plan or so on, that those choices that also affect how much it costs. Like it costs to run these experiments, right?
code used to train, the code that used to do score the model, and you can just take that out, put that somewhere else if you want to, because we don't hold you hostage in our platform. You can take anything, you can use as much or as little as you want, and you can take all the code out of it if you want to.
For the training experiment, is there an easy way to see, like if I click next, train, like how much that's going to cost me?
So when you create the compute, it will tell you how much it costs per hour. And then obviously if you create a node of a 20 node thing, so if it costs me 7 cents, 20 times 7, that's how much it's going to cost you an hour. And you can tell it that you only want it to run for 1 hour if you wanted to. You know, it depends how simple it is, it might finish quicker, but yeah, you can generally work out how much it's going to be charged. And we do also have the option of, you can also have compute that's on, it turns itself on in the morning, turns itself off at night as well, so you can manage your costs that way as well.
So you have seen like how we are democratizing machine learning. So these are some of the services that we are exposing to democratize AI, so to give your applications ability to probably speak, understand the world around them, say things or take certain decisions, just like humans do. So this is kind of like the whole how we get Azure AI services that we bring together. Even in Azure, so like it's kind of like for data scientists or some people who are actually interested in understanding data science, they would be using Azure machine learning. We have like customizable models, so it's like use your own data, but use the model that we have built and have made available to REST API without really going to understand how you can use the data science behind the scenes, and then some of the scenario-based services that are specific for specific set of use cases. For example, if you want to extract information from structure of homes or something like, let's say, it's kind of an invoice, or if it's a receipt and you want to extract that information and feed that for the system, you will use scenario-based services. Or if you want to analyze video, what's happening, the type of people, brands that are present in the video. So various different services available for different sort of scenarios. Some of the capabilities of the services, you can bring your own data, you can customize it for your own specific domains, just like if it is trained on the customer. On the general data, you can bring your domain-specific data, for example, if it is related to health, if it is related to insurance, and then you can customize these models to work for your own specific set of domain. Again, we are making these services available through Azure Cloud, but you don't really need to use Azure Cloud to be able to use these services. If your data resides in other clouds, or if you are probably working with some sort of sensitive data, you can bring these services through container into other clouds or into your on-prem systems as well, and can use these services to do intelligence or build intelligent applications there. So these are the services that we are going to explore today when we are using the guides, just to give you an idea of how these services can be used. So this is the Seeing AI app that Microsoft Research has developed, and what it does is it actually helps people who have low visibility or who are blind to actually help narrate the world around them. It can detect faces, it can detect like if there are friends around, like people that they know. It can extract information from barcodes, it can identify items that are around, it can narrate like what's happening around that specific person. It can look into the currency and can do kind of like, so that you can help these people with the shopping, and then you can read documents or small text when it comes in front of the camera. So conversational Q&A capabilities. So basically conversational Q&A capabilities, like when computer is able to understand the context of the conversation, and based upon the previous questions, it will be able to answer the further questions as well. So it's like we participated in Stanford Q&A, conversational Q&A test, and we were ranked #1 for our services. So it's kind of like where our service have reached human parity, where it's able to understand things just like human would do. So McDonald's is using our services, speech-to-text service, to actually take orders through drive-through, and then transpiring that into the text that can be presented back into the point of sale system. so that users can verify that this is the order that they have placed. I will quickly show you one video in terms of like how people are using that or what Satya has to say about it.
In fact, we're working with McDonald's on one such app. I mean, for McDonald's, as you can imagine, the most mission-critical application is the efficiency of their drive-through. I mean, that's what fast food is all about. How can people get in and get out fast with the order that they want? And so, I don't know how many of you have worked lately in a McDonald's, or gone through a McDonald's, but I want you to listen to what a typical order through a drive-through sounds like. So let's play the video clip.
Good afternoon, welcome to McDonald's. May I take your order? Yes, I would like 2 Happy Meals, 1 cheeseburger and 1 chicken McNugget, both with fries and apples, 1 with chocolate milk and 1 with small orange juice. Also give me 2 cheeseburgers, both of those no onion and 1 of those with ketchup as well, 1 fry and a large coffee, 2 creams, 3 sugars. Would you like that fries or large? Yes, thank you. Would you like barbecue sauce with those nuggets? No, sweet and sour. Is the order on your screen correct? Yes. Okay, your total is $14.68. Please pull around the first window.
All right, so now take out your Surface and your pen and write down the order. I mean, think about that, right? You have all of these characteristics with ambient noise. So what we've done is taken the speech, or what McDonald's with a partner has done is taken the speech algorithm, tuned it, in fact, with this for the specific ambient noise of a McDonald's drive-through. That's that frontier of machine learning and AI. It's not about one speech recognition algorithm. It's the ability to be able to recognize speech in different contexts, with different vocabularies, for different business processes. And that's what really you're seeing. The fidelity of the recognition and the precision is high because of that tuning that you all can do on top of these APIs. But not just that. Not only can you transcribe it in text, you can in fact punch that order directly into the point of sale. Because now that you can recognize the order in text, you can transform it, in this case, into some kind of a JSON object and put it right into your point of sale system. That type of integration of cognitive capability into business process is what we're enabling today. And that's that next frontier, the next platform of the intelligent cloud that we collectively as an ecosystem can and are leading in terms of innovation.
So you can see it's like how it can be.
I think your camera is just in your slide, just your camera is probably not working. Should be right now. So they're not able to see the slides? No, slide was fine. It's just the camera. Okay. Yeah, you can start with the presentation again. Okay.
In fact, we're working with McDonald's on one such app.
So again, speech recognition, you can see it's like they're using software that probably we were not able to understand what the person was saying when he was placing an order, but system is able to recognize based upon some of the fine tuning. So we reached human parity in terms of the speech recognition around 2016 with a word error count. So basically 94.1% accuracy. I will show you. I'll actually you will hear something, and you will have to guess based upon 3 choices that I'll give that what is that is actually being said here. So I'll just redo that. So we'll see like how quickly are we able to understand what was being said. So maybe after reading these three options, I'll play back the audio again so that you can guess. Now, can you guess which one was the option that was said in the audio? C. C? Yeah, so this is the one that was being said. So it's like you can see it's like how machine is able to understand like what is being said, why we have difficulty understanding some of the stuff that is being said. So again, we have capability to create speech from text as well. Just like understanding what is being said, we can actually convert text into the speech using neural networks. We have the capability you can actually select some of the neural voices that we have pre-created with different set of emotions, with different set of accents, but you can bring your own voice as well, and you can generate a voice that is sounding very similar to the voice that you have brought in. This is called custom neural voice. Again, I will show you, I will play this audio, and one of them is basically machine generated, the other one is the original human audio, so you will have to judge which one is human and which one is machine.
As the name suggests, the original submarines came from Yugoslavia. This is easy enough if you have an unfinished attic directly above the bathroom.
So which one was human generated? Human. How many people say A was human? How many people say B was human? Okay, let's see. So A was basically not human, B was human, A is artificial. So you can see it's like how you can actually generate voices that are very similar, sound very similar to humans. So it's like if you have like, let's say conversational capability that call centers where you want to bring bots to replace human, you can use these type of services to create human sounding voices. I won't demo neural voices, but we'll probably do something later in the sessions today. I'll quickly show you some of the vision stuff. So basically it's like services where services are able to understand. So again, these services are available as REST API. You can consume them just by sending your request to the REST API and getting the information back. So just like human machines or our service can understand what's happening around them, like we saw in the Seeing AI app. So you can extract text from the images. We are giving you OCR capabilities. You can extract printed text, handwritten text from the images. You can analyze faces. So it's like you can detect if there is a face within the image. You can identify a specific person. If that person is present in the image, you can compare similarity of the two faces. Similarly, you can do image analysis in terms of like if there is a specific item that is present, so it's like extract common text from the images. So it's like what is kind of like being described in this image. So it's like there's a piece of clothing, it seems like a train station. It will give you with various different confidence score so that you can see like how confident your model is while it is detecting that something is present within this image. You can also detect if there is a specific object that is present in the image. So you can use it to understand if there is like what is being represented in the image, or you can use it for a specific scenario. But this service is basically trained on the general purpose images. If you have specific images that are domain specific, for example, if you want to see on your production line if the item is produced correctly, if there are some defects in that, you can use. We have another service that is custom vision. We are going to test that out in our guides today, or some sample guides, training guides that we have provided you. And what you can do is like you can give it a few images, label that images, and then you can see like if you want to do object detection or image classification, and it will be able to understand like what are the different type of images present, and it will be able to do object detection or image classification for your own domain-specific data. Then you can use this to do actually a spatial analysis. For example, let's say if you want to understand So if people enter in a specific area, when they're leaving that specific area, so if, for example, if you want to understand what are the most walked through area within a supermarket, so that you can promote your promotions on the areas that are more walked about, or if there are areas in the supermarket where nobody actually goes and you're putting stuff in there, so you can move the items from there. Similarly, you can use it for like safety and security reasons, where you want to mark no-go area, and if anybody enters mark no-go area, you can raise security alarms, you can identify, and you can send the request to the security person to just have a look at that. Similarly, you can see like if there are like capacity for a certain room or capacity for a certain area, and if there are more people present than the capacity, you can monitor all of that using these services. And then we have, sorry. So these are some of the capabilities that are available through Vision services. So moving forward. So what Uber has done, we have our specific face services, like I mentioned, like it can be used to detect or verify or identify certain person. So what we have done is with Uber is they are using our services to identify the drivers. It occasionally asks drivers to actually send their selfies while they are behind the vehicle, and they match it against their pre-vetted pictures, just ensures like this the same person who is registered to drive the vehicle is driving the vehicle, to actually ensure security of passengers as well as for the drivers. Then we have a specific scenario-based service that we have built on top of our Vision services. It's basically to extract information from forms so that you can extract structured data. It's kind of like the services that we have built while working with the customers, where they actually wanted to use this service for a specific sort of scenario, and we see like lots of customers asking for a similar set of things, and we have created models that are designed for a specific scenario, and then we're using that. So it's a form recognizer. If I will quickly show you. It's not working. Not able to go to the next screen. So various different type of forms: receipt, medical forms, tax forms, bank forms. You can extract information from that, and you can quickly get key value pairs, if there are tables, what's the content that is held within various different rows of the table. So it's like if there's like, and then you can use the information that is extracted to automate your business processes, or probably to input into your knowledge mining systems as well. Language services, again, language service can be used for translation. So you can use language service to translate. Basically, the service can detect languages as well as like the language in which this specific text is written, and then can translate it from one language to another. It can be used to extract key phrases from the documentation so that you can understand what are the main talking points within the document. It can be used to extract entities from the documents, for example, let's say location, name, person, and then you can use our services to redact that information as well. It can be used for sentiment analysis. So it's like if something was said in a positive manner, if something was said in a negative manner, and kind of like the opinion mining, so like how it has actually come to that conclusion based upon various different opinions that were present. It can detect sentiments for each sentence, and then based upon the overall average sentiment of the document, it would give you information about what was the prominent sentiment within that specific piece of text that was being sent to it for analysis. We are using in our products, we are using the services that we are exposing to you as well. So you can see like they are being used in Office, Bing, SharePoint, so Translator, and most of the other services as well. So it's like the same service that we are using for our products, we are giving you access to the same services so that you can use. So it's reliable, and you can see like it's reliable. That's why we have brought them into our products as well. I think with that, it's European Parliament. One of the example is basically European Parliament is using our real-time speech-to-text services as well as language translation services to actually translate speech from one language into another language at the real time. So all of the parties who are coming to the parliament, they can get understanding of what is being said in their language, and they are able to collaborate with each other. I think with that intelligent kiosk, we will start the hands-on, and Robin will do the demo of intelligent kiosk that we have made available for you to actually explore some of the use cases where these services can be utilized.
Second. Should my audio is correct? Two testing. Testing. Good. Okay, so I'm just going to show you some applications of the cognitive services. So this is a demo called Intelligent Kiosk. You can download this from GitHub, or you can download it from the store now. It wasn't in the store for a bit, but then now we stuck it back in the store. At least it looked like we had the other day. So this is just showing off some of the cognitive services. I'll be really quick, so you get a chance to play around with the stuff as well. Or at least get started playing around with some of this stuff. So here we go, Intelligent Kiosk. I'm running it from Git, so I'm running on Visual Studio, just waiting for Visual Studio to kick in. It might help if that's plugged in. It'll be a bit quicker. Okay. May or may not have seen this before. Okay, so let's have a look at, here's one application of cognitive services. So this is, well, you might have this, pretend I'm driving a car. You might have this on your driver, making sure that they are doing everything that they should be doing. So they might be driving along, they might fall asleep. And so when they fall asleep, hopefully it's picked up the fact that my eyes have closed. I might yawn, to give me show my eye aperture. It might be that I'm looking away out the window. As you can see, it goes red every time I look away. I might start talking, oops, on a mobile phone while I'm driving. It's obviously illegal nowadays, and as you can see, its distractions are coming up. So this is just using some of our cognitive services to highlight those things, mostly the face API. We can see, in fact, let's show this face API as well. Let's do me. Let's see if I can take this picture while I'm looking the other way. Okay, there I am. It's all the key points of my face, so even if I had a disguise on, you could still identify who I was. See my brown and grey hair. Thinks I have a beard, which I do a bit. You can see the motion, so mostly neutral, a bit happy there. Head of a pose, the image quality, etc. So it would also, it knows that I'm wearing glasses, reading glasses as opposed to swimming goggles. It doesn't matter the distance of reading, it always comes up reading. We can look at, let's do these one way, look at lots of different. Okay, we could do natural text to speech. So these are a few different voices. So that we call these cognitive voices created with deep neural networks. So they sound quite similar to humans. Oh, and you know, I would have to share my audio. Let's just do that quickly because I didn't remember to do that. So I just share again. See if this works. No, it's not. It's coming through the wrong device. So I'll just swap devices for this. It's going to come really loud in a minute. No? Try once more, and then we won't do any sound ones if we can't get this working. It should be this one, actually. Let's try this.
Hello, everyone.
So that was English US.
Hello, everyone.
This is English Indian accent.
Hello, everyone. The rain in Spain falls mainly on the rain.
So, and with this, you can also put nuances on. So you can tell it you want it to be a cheerful voice, a angry voice, all these kind of things. So let's just try one at random. Okay, so what's that? Chinese. Hope you are having a nice time. If I spell that right. So that is Chinese Mandarin accent.
Hello, everyone. Hope you are having a nice time.
Okay. But like I said, you can make it sound like formal, you can make it informal, you can make it angry, sad, happy. What else did we also have a caption, so you can identify things. Let's try do something a bit more. It's going to work out. I'm holding a camera thing. Yeah, and a headset, close enough. Just jump back here. And we can do translation. It's the same translation that you get in Bing. If you go in Bing and do translation, that's using the same cognitive services to do that. We can do speech to text. Hello, speech to text service. Are you working? There we go. Yes. And this one, let's try this one. See if this one works. We'll select that folder. And this is going to go through all the assets in that folder and tell me what I have in that folder and break it down. So if you had loads of images, you could use it to kind of categorize all those images out. So I can see the ages of the people, male or female, pertain to person, all the attributes for them. So bald, who's bald? No, that didn't work, did it? Hold on, we'll let it load in first before we do anything. With this we also have content moderator as well as part of our services. So content moderator, as you can see, this person has come up under content moderator, so it's blurred it out for this scenario. So we'll look for another one here. This one's actually two women on a surfboard, but it's deemed that's racy because they're in bikinis. So it will deem adult or racy content, and you can decide what you do or don't want to do with that. And then let's see, who was it that was bald? Oh, it was not really. It's got that one wrong. I should have picked a better one. Lip makeup, people with lipstick on. Contains multiple people, 2 people. Oh, yeah, that one. You just see it actually before that because the app just kicks it in. So you can just see 2 people with a surfboard. Done it by age. People that are surprised. Person's surprised. People that are angry. Person's angry. Okay? So you can use this to basically control your assets or do whatever you want. Actually, that content moderator, we had a use case. It was a delivery company, and they had a problem where, well, basically their delivery drivers would have to take a picture of where the parcel was, but they need to put content moderator on because for some reason the delivery drivers would be taking pictures of their private parts and sending them in. So they didn't want anyone looking at them, so they right, okay, so let's give you a brief overview of some of the stuff. Now, we'll let you start on the workshop. Has everyone now got their Azure subscription set up? Sorry, let's rephrase that. Has anyone not got their Azure subscription working? Okay, I can't see a minute. And has everyone been able to download the contents of the workshop to the document to start going? Sorry, has anyone not been able to? Hands up here if you've not done that yet. Okay, right, I'll put that on screen. You do have to sign in to it, but it's free. Okay, so let's just stop. Okay, so I'll put that on screen. Is this, oh, that's the wrong one, isn't it? Sorry, wrong one. 1 second, don't do that one. Okay. That's it. Share it. Okay, so take a picture of this. Yeah, it's probably best on your computer. I'll give you the AKA. So I created an AKA for it earlier, which is, I'll tell you in a second. So AI Workshop Reactor is the AKA. So aka.ms/AI Workshop Reactor. I will, while that's up, I'll actually edit the slide, see if this works. And do the slide. Yep, all one word. I'll try and make it a bit bigger in a second. Okay, you should see that, yeah. Okay, so this is, yeah, that's the aka.ms AI Workshop Reactor. It'll go in, you might ask you to sign in, and then you can download a document from there, and that document will give you the workshop. Now, there's a lot to the workshop, so I would advise, well, where should we get them to start? Okay, start with vision.
These guides are
Okay, so I'll leave this on the screen. Just put your hand up if you need any help. And then, yeah, as Afshin said, you can continue these afterwards.
This is specifically for, sorry, not for you, not for the in-person audience, but because this is hybrid, I'm just speaking to the virtual audience. We'll be ending the broadcast. So you may want to, oh, might need to actually, I was gonna, sorry, for the virtual audience, we're now going to be ending the broadcast, but please do sign up to the Cloud Skills Challenge. This is some extra learning at your own pace. And yeah, we'll see you next month on the DevOps meetup. Sorry, not on the DevOps, for the DevOps Azure fundamentals. Until then, if you have any questions, feel free to email us, feel free to add it in the chats, and one of the team members will get back to you. But yeah, thank you very much for joining.